There have been at least 2 times in my life where I've had to take a very significant time away from music and take an actual break from music creation altogether. And those periods of my life have been very difficult to cope with as a musician. And that, my friends, is what creative burnout looks like. What's up, you guys? Nathan Larsen here, back at you with another video for those of you guys who make music at home, whether you're an artist, songwriter, producer, if you write and record your own music at home, this is the channel for you. If that sounds like you at all, subscribe to the channel for more videos like these. Now, the tone of this video is gonna be a little bit more serious because honestly, this is a really serious conversation, and it's a conversation that's also really important. Creative burnout is definitely real, and there are so many people who are experiencing creative burnout without really knowing how to get away from it or how to avoid it. So for those of you that have experienced creative burnout already, or maybe you're in the middle of it right now, I hope this video will help you and encourage you. For those of you who are not there yet, maybe haven't been doing it long enough, or maybe you've been fortunate to have escaped it yourself, this video will hopefully be a good way for you to continue avoiding creative burnout. But in this video, I'm gonna be sharing 5 ways that you can avoid creative burnout. Now, these are things that I've learned in my own personal experience. These are things that have worked for me personally. I'm sure I'm gonna leave some things out. I'm sure you guys are gonna have other suggestions as well, things that you do. So I really hope that more than anything, this will serve as an encouragement. This will also serve as a continued conversation in the comments section down below. I am not sitting here claiming that I know everything about this. I'm not sitting here claiming that, like, look at me, I'm the smartest, I'm the brightest, I'm the best. I have all of the advice for you. So let's just jump right into it. Number 1, and this one might kind of hit you pretty hard, and that is don't find your identity in who you are as a creative. Now, what I mean by this is actually wrapping up all of who you kind of identify as an individual, as a person, in your successes creatively. Whether that's success in terms of, look at this new song I wrote, it's the best song I've ever done, or success as, look at how many views I got, or look at how many subscribers I got, or look at how many streams I got. One way or the other, if you wrap up your identity in those things, you are going to be on an emotional roller coaster that is going to take you to some very, very high highs into the deepest of lows. And the thing is that when these emotions carry your identity down into the dumps, into the mud, it becomes extremely difficult to get out of it. So if you're writing music and you write a wonderful song, you might feel like you're on cloud 9 and boom, you're incredible, you're amazing. But maybe the next day you write a song that you just don't feel happy with, and that song could really pull you down in the mud. And all of a sudden, you start wrapping up who you are from a identity perspective into that. It is going to mess you up. And it becomes extremely difficult to pull yourself out of that instead of realizing that it's just a song. It's just a song. And for every 10 songs I write, a good chunk of those songs are throwaways. So a couple suggestions and a couple ways that you can not find your identity in those things is, first, for me personally, faith. Getting involved with a church, getting involved with my community from a faith perspective. This is the most important piece for me personally as a Christian. 2, relationships, family, friends, making sure that even if you're not in a faith-based community, that you are in a community. We as human beings are meant to be in relationship with one another. And if you're avoiding that by working in your studio 99.9% of the time, only enough time for you to go upstairs and get a quick bite to eat and then coming right back down, guess what? You're going to find your identity wrapped up in that, and you are going to experience burnout eventually, and it will catch up to you. The other thing is hobbies. Find things that you just enjoy doing that don't use creative energy. Find things that can actually restore creative energy. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a couple of the other ones. That brings us to number 2. The second piece of advice that I have is to experience life. There is so much more in life than just making music. And if making music is all that life is for you, you are really, really missing out. We have this amazingly beautiful world around us. You can literally step outside, go walk around, and start experiencing life in a way that is going to give you more meaning. Find hobbies, find things that you enjoy doing. Go outside. Go for a run, go on a vacation, travel to new places, listen to new music, watch new movies, expand your horizons, experience new cultures if you can. You need to give yourself a break to experience more than just music. And what's interesting is that, at least for myself, I found that the more I experience of life beyond music, those things actually begin to reflect in the music that I'm creating. When I feel sorrow because I lost a friend, then guess what? That's going to influence how I write my next song. When I feel joy because I just had a new baby and I have a son now, that's going to impact how I actually create my next song. When I experience gloom or melancholy, or when I experience wonder and amazement and awestruckness or whatever, those things are going to impact how I actually create music, and they're going to impact how you create music as well. So don't neglect the rest of what the world has to offer and go out and actually experience life, because those things are actually going to impact how you create music. And when you step away from music to actually go out and enjoy life and do things and experience life and start understanding new things, learning new skills, finding new hobbies, eating new food, trying out new things, those things are going to impact how you create music. So that right there is such a key component of getting away from creative burnout, is allowing yourself to realize that there is more to life than just making music, and experiencing life goes so much deeper, so much more broad as well than just the things you're doing musically. So go out and experience life. Number 3, this one, probably not a big shocker, exercise. Exercise is absolutely proven to not only help you physically, but also help you mentally. There's no question about this at all. Even if you're spending 15 to 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, or even 2 times a week, spending some time exercising, getting your heart rate up, getting your blood flowing, this is actually going to help you in a tremendous way. I know for me personally that at the times when I am neglecting to take care of my body in terms of exercise, and also in terms of how I'm eating, making sure I'm drinking enough water and things like that, I don't tend to sleep as well. I don't tend to feel as energized. I don't have as much focus. And there are so many of these elements that all of a sudden I realize, wow, I haven't actually worked out in a little while. I haven't gotten any exercise in a little while. And when I start going out and I start exercising again, oh my goodness, there's something amazing about it. Obviously, when you start exercising for the first time, or it's been a little while, not exactly the most fun experience, but it's absolutely worth it. And if you spend time exercising, if you actually allow yourself to go out, go for a run, go for a jog, do some calisthenics, go weightlifting, whatever the case it is, find something you actually enjoy. And I think that if you're looking at this purely from the perspective of avoiding burnout, you don't have to go and work out to get ripped, right? You don't have to go work out to become like the most fit human being ever. If anything, do it for your mental health. If anything, do it because you want to take care of yourself. Do it because you want to live longer. Do it because you want to be able to create longer. Do it because you want to have more energy, because you want to sleep better. Those types of things are going to absolutely affect how you create from a purely creative standpoint. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not eating well, if you're not taking care of the body that you have been given, then guess what? This thing up here called your brain isn't going to be able to work out those amazing creative ideas as well. Number 4, study music. Spend time learning music. Now, some of you might call this music theory. I don't care what you call it. You might call it music theory. You might call it active listening. You might call it just spending time listening to new music and understanding what chord progressions are they using. How are they creating those melodies? How are they creating those lyrics? And actually understanding more about music. But spend time learning about music. If you think that you can just be super hyper creative all the time without ever taking a second to pause and look at what other people are doing that are pushing the limits, or actually spending any time understanding, why does that chord progression work, right? Why is it that if I play a C major chord over an E, it sounds so much different than if I play just a C major chord in root position? If you don't know what I'm talking about, just try it. It's interesting. Try writing new things based on the things that you're actually learning. Spend some time actually studying music. I'm not saying you need to go get a degree. I'm not saying you need to go to school. I'm not saying you even need to necessarily take lessons. The cool thing is you can literally do this in the comfort of your own home. You can put headphones on, just listen to music, sit down and actually try to learn what you just listened to on the keyboard or on the guitar, or sing it through yourself. The cool thing about music is that what comes in typically finds its way out. So by ingesting certain things or by learning new things, those things are going to find a way to bleed into the music that you're creating. There's a reason why in the jazz world, one of the best ways that they're going to tell you to learn jazz is to listen to jazz. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that in the jazz world, they say if you really want to learn jazz, then you should go transcribe solos. You should go actually write it out. Go actually figure out what made that solo work. The reason is because what you put in your brain is going to find its way out, and you can learn a lot about what other people do. So don't ever neglect the sharpening of your own mind, the sharpening of yourself from a creative standpoint in terms of actually learning more about music. And before we jump in this last one, if you are a music producer at home, I want to let you guys know that I'm giving away a free module of my course, the Producer Accelerator, which is launching January 27th of this year. I'm giving away a free module. It's a free session breakdown of my song, I Will Rise. You can get that link down below. That's only going to be available until the course launches end of January. And that brings us to number 5, the last one. Take a break. Do not be afraid to take a break. This could be a break for a week. It could be a break for a month. It might be a break for a year. The longest break that I ever took from music was almost 2 years. And there was a period of time in there where I wasn't even sure that I would ever come back. And fortunately, I got pulled right back into it. Fortunately, I'm the type of person that I couldn't resist it. There was no way of getting around it. I felt like this is what I was meant for. This is what I was called to do. And so there was no getting away from it. But what I found was that by taking a 2-year break, which is much longer than I would necessarily suggest you take, by taking that break, I actually came back newly inspired. I had a new sense of stability mentally, creatively. I had gone out and actually just experienced a whole new kind of world, a whole new life in some ways for 2 years. That gave me a lot of experiences to write music about and to create music. I was listening to new types of music during that time. I was experiencing the world and doing many of these very things that I've kind of talked about here in this talk so far. And that actually made me better. It actually made me more creative. I found that after that break, I was creating the best music I had ever created in my life. You don't have to take a 2-year break. You could take a 1-week break, go on a vacation, go to the mountains, go to the beach, go somewhere, do something. Do what I've talked about in this video, but take a break. If you're not giving yourself a break, burnout is going to catch up to you. Why do you think it is that so many artists, so many producers have such a short longevity in this industry? Part of it is because they eat, sleep, drink music, and that is all they do without allowing themselves to take a break. Sometimes we just need to take our break for our own mental sanity, to be able to help our brain actually kind of reset in some ways. It's very, very difficult to continue putting out creatively every single day, day in, day out without a break. You need to plan for breaks. Give yourself micro breaks, breaks throughout the day, breaks throughout the week. Make sure you're not spending 7 days straight and not taking a single day to just give yourself a mental break. Make sure you're not spending a whole year or a month or 2 years or 5 years doing that without allowing yourself to breathe, to do something, to experience life, and to give yourself a break. Never, ever, ever think that it is bad to take a break. Never think that you are lesser of a creative person because you do need to take a break. You have to take a break at some point. If you don't give yourself that break, your brain might just force it on you. And that is creative burnout. I really hope this video helped you. Like, honestly. Thinking through this stuff has helped me. I've found myself at the brink of creative burnout over this last year, and I've had to come back to many of these examples that I've talked about here and had to implement them myself. This isn't a comprehensive list. These are 5 ways that I think are some of the best ways that you could avoid creative burnout or get out of creative burnout. But I'm sure there's more that you guys have in mind as well. Drop a comment. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and we'll see you in the next one.